What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Envision Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Brad's Gaming, and as always, I'm joined by Clownish Joe
Hello, everyone.
and Triple Bravo.
Howdy, folks.
Now, we are just three guys who are passionate about video games with different interests, so hopefully we can cover all of the avenues for you. So today's topic, we are discussing PlayStation. Everything PlayStation. Got a little bit of a state of play for PlayStation that just so happened to conveniently fall in the week that we decided to do this. And we're also going to discuss a whole, plethora of things of PlayStation. So, anyways, before we jump into that, how's your week, boys? Joe, let's start off with you.
Well, I've been working the late shift at work. Haven't really enjoyed that. A whole lot of nothing. Don't tell work, but the last 2 nights at work, I actually got to partake in some Netflix and watch the new Resident Evil series. Get into that a little bit later.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's pretty much been it. Just work and hanging out.
All right, how about you, Bravo?
Yeah, my week's been pretty good. Work is it's just work. And then home stuff, working on the bus. I've got all the interior removed so I can reinstallate and build the interior frame. I'm thinking about removing the floor and redoing it while it's there because, like, the floor of buses, if you don't know, is actually wood. So, like, the edges where the kids, like, sneeze and cry or whatever whatever kids do on buses, spill drinks,
Sneeze and cry, those are the two things you said to go with.
They like the edges are like where the trim ends for the floor, like it's damaged, like water damaged. So I think I might just replace it all and just like give it a higher quality wood or something. I don't know, but it's going fun. Things obviously tear down faster than they go back together. So I've really plowed through the demolishing stage, and I'm just about to the building stage where all the fun stuff starts.
It seems like you're kind of going through it pretty quick. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's a lot faster to tear stuff down, but still, it seems like, I kind of expected you to be like tearing stuff down for like a couple months.
Oh yeah, I was streaming it on Twitch through my phone, but I, for the life of me, cannot get my phone to actually start streaming to Twitch. And I haven't done too much research. I've checked to make sure that there's like an update that like hadn't gone through or something, but it's not something easy to fix. So I'm gonna try to like remove the app and do all that stuff beforehand. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, how's your week?
Too much
there?
work.
Yeah, how's your week there, Brad?
Not too bad. Can't complain. We ended up on the weekend going to this kind of little small resort that's local, out where she lives. So it was like super last minute, literally Friday at about 3 p.m. She texts me, "Hey, I'm thinking about." Well, first of all, she tells me everything in one word answers. All she says is, "Can you not work Saturday?" And I was just like, "Why? Do you want to do something Saturday? You want me to work Sunday instead?" No. What's the plan? What do you have in mind? Sends me just a link to this resort. I'm like, when do you want to go there? And she just says yes. I'm like, all right, looks like we're going. Then I call her up and she goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking about going there tonight." And I'm like, you do realize I'm like 3 hours away from my work because I was in the office this week.
She says, "Not my problem."
That week. And so I ended up and plus my buddy was coming over, so we ended up just chilling. I went up there first thing, like early in the morning, and we got there. Well, I got there. They were already there. Just hung out, walked around a little bit on the strip. It's super nice out. Went by the pool. Sent Bravo and Joe a couple feet pics. And that was the excitement.
Just no context. I sent the boys feet pics. we're gonna let the audience ponder on that one.
So, next question: how's the house hunt going?
House hunt is on. Well, we went from about 95% sold to back to 0. And we're back on the house hunt. We're looking a little bit. So, what and I mean, the house is still there for us. It's just it was like
Condemned?
all of the contingency was based on the sale of our home, and the people that bought ours backed out, which I might have mentioned last week. I can't remember.
No.
I don't think you did.
Anyways, so they backed out, and now we have to go back through the whole fun process of, hey, come look at our house. Do you want to buy it? Let me show you the cool bathroom where I take my dumps.
How close is the current house to the house that you would buy?
10 minutes.
Joe?
Yep.
You want to be neighbors with Brad? 10-minute neighbors, that is.
If you guys want to live in the middle of nowhere, by all means, buy this house.
Does it have good internet?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. So the ISP is Frontier, which isn't
That's
considered good. But here's the thing: it's like they have this. I don't know why out in the middle of nowhere they have this, but you can get like 500 gigs, 500 down and up, essentially, which is pretty darn good.
Decent.
Yeah, and we just pay for the 100, and it works fine. So realistically, it's pretty solid. It's just you're gonna have no cell phone service at all.
Nah, who needs it? I got Bravo there with me.
Exactly.
That's right.
But yeah. Anyways, how about games? Bravo. Let's start with you.
Oh, games have been playing?
Yeah, games you've been playing. I just decided to cut it real short. I wanted everybody to assume we were talking about,
Well, we've still continued the League of Legends phase, but in addition to that, I have been playing some more Deep Rock, although I'm at the end of that one, I believe. I picked up Oxygen Not Included. I did not tell Joe about it. He's just learning now. But it was on sale, and I watched Joe play it quite a bit, so I'm excited to get to that one. And I picked up a, let's say, adult anime game.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Called She Will Punish Them. All right, hear me out.
I don't want to.
I've never played a game like this before, but the reviews were hilarious. So it's a Path of Exile knockoff, but with just sexy ladies, and you have like this like castle customization game and or like mini game. and I was like, you know what? This is $8. I'm gonna pick it up just for the memes. So look for the review on that one.
So you're telling me, because you said Path of Exile, this is a Diablo clone?
Yeah.
No. It's a Path of Exile clone, which is a Diablo clone.
Yes.
So it's like second cousin twice removed.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, all right. Now, do you wear pants when you play this game?
Yes.
Yes or no? Oh,
I wear my my.
Is this why you were late today?
No.
Yeah.
No.
How about you, Joe?
Obviously, I've been attempting to play League of Legends, even though you'd think it was like a third grader. Long story short, we're not very good, but we have a good time. But I have been playing a good bit of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on the GameCube, which is a game I've never finished, but got pretty deep into, and decided that if I'm going to be collecting them all, I probably should beat them all. And then I played a bit of Plague Tale Innocence, which was the free game for PS5 given out for PlayStation Now this month. PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Really interesting game. I'm not very far into it. I'm on like the third chapter, but I see a ton of potential already, and I can't wait to get that one finished.
So I don't think since we started the podcast I have even played a single game other than one game of League with you guys.
No, you played some Hearthstone.
Oh yeah. Does that even count though? I mean, I basically am half asleep when I play that. So
Half asleep whenever I watch it.
Hey.
yeah, it's we've watched those pro streamers. They look miserable.
They look half asleep.
They look like they'd rather be doing anything but play Hearthstone. But anyways, so I also and I think I was the little bit of inspiration to Joe because I picked up Plague Tale Innocence and I started playing it. I told him also the cool thing about it is this is the PlayStation 5 version that they gave out. So it has all the adaptive triggers, the haptic feedback, yada yada yada. I am about 2 hours into it. I'm a tad further than Joe, so not crazy far, but
you-
yes, huh?
Are you playing the PS5 version?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were playing your physical copy or not.
Nope. I just downloaded it because I knew that was the upgraded version. Technically, in quotes, it's a horror game. I don't really see it. It's just the fact that it's kind of dark and creepy atmosphere, I would say. So it has the horror elements, I think, is what it is. But I decided to throw it on my shelf for the horror collection. Yeah, everything Joe said though, it is an awesome game. I absolutely love it so far, and I can't wait because one of the exciting things is not super long, so I'll be able to actually finish it.
I also really enjoy how they are using the like triggers and haptic feedback in that game. Like even for something as simple as running, like you get, when your foot hits the
Very-
ground, you get a little small
Yeah,
rumble.
very subtle. It's nice little addition to it, for sure. But unless we don't have anything else, we can go into the guess the price game, and we're gonna be handing this one off to Bravo here, because I'm handing the torch over to him.
All right, thanks, Brad. I'll take it from here.
All right,
Alrighty,
your
folks.
voice needs to be a little deeper.
Alrighty, folks.
There
This
it
is Triple Bravo. I can't do that. All right, I am super excited to host this game. If you've been following the show, you know that I am by far the weakest link when it comes to this game. So I brought in an expert, Brad, who initially created this game, to swap places with me. And that's how we made it here. So I have done way more research than what I'd like to admit into these games. So we're just going to jump into it. So I'm going to... I have confirmed with an expert that these are real words that you two should understand. Okay? First game. Resident Evil 2, Nintendo GameCube, 2003, new factory sealed, WADA graded 9.2B.
You're supposed to unbias these. You have a guy that collects these games.
Yeah, well, first of all, that doesn't help.
Brad
but-
says, first of all, I purchased this one.
First of all, it's back. That was actually the buyer of that game.
Yeah, I
It's
think
right there on that shelf. No, you made this very difficult.
You said factory sealed?
Factory sealed, WADA graded.
New
9.2?
factories. So just to clarify, Joe,
Okay.
I polarize these. So the next game is going to be leaning towards.
Okay.
Okay, so
But
so
my
I'll
question
read
is-
it off again. Okay.
Okay.
Resident Evil 2, Nintendo GameCube, 2003, new factory sealed, WADA graded 9.2 Bravo.
GameCube.
GameCube.
Did you know that there was a GameCube release?
I did, but
Do you know what it is?
It's
So
Resident
it's-
Evil 2.
It's essentially, it's
upscaled?
kind of similar to the RE1 remake, like upscaled a little bit, but not like as intense
Okay.
on the GameCube.
Did they add content?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
This is like
I
it's
have
basically
I was gonna ask him if it was long box or standard box, because I thought he said PlayStation 1.
yeah.
Now I'm just like,
I'm just gonna. We're going.
All right.
Are we doing just base numbers?
Yeah.
what was the grading? 9 point what?
9.2.
9.2. All right. So if you've never listened to the show before, the boys are writing down their price, so there's no like fudging the numbers.
No
And
shenanigans.
they'll show me the number.
Yeah, you could see.
It's a
Simple enough.
1,000
Simple enough.
buckaroos for Brad and 2,500 for Joe. You guys respect this game a lot. I'm glad I chose it. So you're both.
All right, so can I give you a premise of why I chose what I did?
Go for it.
Just a very bit. It's about $150 game, just complete in box. So I'm thinking sealed version is probably about 500. WADA graded, I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably less than that, but I was just going. With
I'm
round
saying
numbers.
sealed makes it like Way higher.
It could be. It could be stupid expensive, but I'm
And
just like,
since it's
all right,
such a high water grade.
yeah.
All right, I'll give you guys one chance to adjust here.
No.
You are high. We've got $430 for Joe.
Oh, how do I put it?
$6 for Brad.
$6 for Brad. No,
$600.
don't mind that. There you go.
$600 for Brad. Okay. It sold for $352.
That's it.
Wow.
Yes, there were.
What?
There were.
It has to be because it's the GameCube version.
There were.
GameCube version's the most sought after version for RE2.
Well,
It's the most expensive one.
It sold yesterday. There were 37 bids on it.
It was a bidding war. That's why. All right. So I'll tell you right now, that's why I pull numerous ones, because somebody got to steal, I think. That's just my guess. That's pretty low. I mean, the fact that you can,
low. I mean,
for a
obviously we
sealed
both guessed.
a sealed WADA, it makes me think it would be stupid high. But
well, the
maybe
guy
not.
that hosted, I don't want to dox him. Never mind. I was going to say his name because it's funny, but I'll leave him alone.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay,
All right. I'm just big dumb.
First W goes to Joe. Tell me if I did I like break some rules, like I should like.
No,
Okay.
No.
that was perfectly fine. I pull averages because I feel like that would be low, but I could be completely
No,
wrong.
you respect the game.
I do, yeah. I mean, and
Okay.
it's also me knowing that horror games are like stupid high.
And if that's what it goes for, Brad's picking up a WADA 10.0 next week.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, if a WADA graded sealed version of Resident Evil 2 on GameCube, if I can snag that for like $300, I'd probably grab it.
That's crazy.
But actually, I probably wouldn't.
How do
'cause I
they?
respect
How does a
my money
person
so much.
confirm that the WADA grade? Like they send you like a receipt or something?
They like box it and
So they put it
seal
in a
it.
plastic box.
Okay.
Like the WADA actually puts it in this box, and it says the grade at the top.
Oh, that makes
So it
sense because it was in the
Can't
picture.
be tampered.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it can't be,
was
like,
the
tampered
picture.
or
I
anything.
thought that was like a like a Blockbuster case. You know. Anyway.
How much did you say it went for?
Oh, let me look at it again. $352. All right, the next game is a pristine, never opened 007 GoldenEye.
never open.
I will correct myself amongst the previous game that we played. This was a one bid purchase.
Buy it now?
He bought it. He straight up
So
purchased.
buy it
yeah,
now?
it wasn't a bid. It was a purchase. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. My
Um,
question is: it factory sealed or just says never opened?
It says pristine, never opened 007 GoldenEye.
Okay.
$400 for Brad, $999 for Joe. Now, boys, I want you to look me in the eyes because we got the cameras on. I want you to look me in the eyes.
Yeah.
Way, way low.
I figured.
Okay.
Low?
You're so
Like, way
cold.
low?
You're so cold. You're running from polar bears. Okay.
Brad, what did we
Wow.
talk about last time we talked about this? It's an N64 game.
Yeah,
Cardboard box.
but all right, is it
GoldenEye.
actually sealed or is it not?
It's, as far as we know, it's sealed.
That's the difference. Because if it's like, I'm like, okay, it's some guy who says it's never opened. It's just a cardboard or whatever. I have chicken scratch, by the way, so don't mind me.
2S00 for Brad and 9,999 for Joe. That's 2,500.
2S.
It's
2S.
2,500. Okay. The purchased price of the pristine, never opened 007 GoldenEye was $6,500.
What? Wow.
Gorgeous.
Make that another week's win, even though
Gorgeous.
it's not Bravo.
We're gonna do an encore game. Okay, it's gonna be worth double the points.
No.
Yes.
Triple the points, baby. Because it's
Triple
double
the
the
points because my name is Triple Bravo, and that's what we do here. All right, triple the points. Joe can win by a mile, or Brad can catch up and then win by an inch. So, before we move on, I would like to add that I picked this one specifically to prove my ongoing theory that game sales on eBay are actually a way to smuggle drugs and drug money to clean them through the system. I just want you to keep that in mind, Brad. I'm watching you, boy. All right.
I just want to throw it out there that he chose all sealed games, which are drastically different than anything else that I'm used to seeing. So I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
Yeah, I
need to
don't ever
hold that
look
up.
up buying a sealed game.
Interesting you say that because the next one is a complete in-box game with manual. That's right, folks. It still has the manual.
That's
for...
what complete in box means.
Look, I'm reading off the title. Like they specifically said complete in-box game manual. But this is, are you ready for this? Bejeweled Twist Nintendo DS. Okay? Bejeweled Twist Nintendo DS complete in
What year
box.
was it released?
I don't know.
What does the box smell like?
It smells,
Was it in a smoking home?
it smells
Yes.
like your stepmom's depression because
Is there any
Seems like-
damage to the case? We got any?
there's some damage along
holes.
the edges.
Mhm.
Not a whole lot, just like the plastic damage. The cover.
The fact
Looks
that you
real
said
good.
that the smuggling makes me think I have to go extremely high for this. So I'm just gonna go like I don't know. I'm gonna go.
I'm not seeing. All right, so we've
Negative?
got $250. No, negative
No,
$250 for Brad, and $2,500 for Joe. All right, boys. This is the encore game, so you're not allowed to adjust your price.
I put a dash and they tell me it's negative.
Bejeweled Twist sold for $6.99.
Oh. All right.
So we'll round up to 7. Brad wins because he was approximately $243 closer.
I am
Or the
what do you
closest.
call-
He was like $259 off.
I am the prophet. Okay.
Oh, I just thought that was funny. Like,
I never thought guessing negative would win,
Well, it did.
but I'm still marking that as a 2-1 victory in my book, and I'm still undefeated.
Go ahead. Next week we'll see. We'll see
Do
what
your
happens.
studying.
I think we ought to keep track.
I need to
of-
start studying new games. Is what I need to do.
Yeah, well, I'm learning. I'm calibrating. So perhaps we won't do these like super mega crazy costs. Like
The
I think
rare
it'd
of
be
the rare.
yeah. I think we ought to do it until you guys like are within like a couple bucks. You know?
I would say the thing about it that is tricky from this standpoint is you throw out a game like Bejeweled, right? And I have no idea if this is like one of those most sought after DS games like Barbie.
Welcome to my
Because
world,
it
Brad.
just had the lowest print run ever, and I'm like, it's Bejeweled.
Welcome
Who
to
cares
my
about
world.
Bejeweled?
That's how I operate.
I brought Crossword Plus for the Nintendo 3DS brand new for $3, shipped for free. I think they lost money shipping it to me.
Just wanted it out of their home.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're like,
somebody was
"Please
addicted."
take it.
Maybe the postal
Just take
service
it.
is like, oh, this poor guy. We'll give it to him for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty,
All right.
folks. That was the guess the game or guess the price game. I hope you
was fun.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed myself.
Let's slip into the weekly news and see what we all came up with.
New segment.
Yeah, so let's start off with talking about WitcherCon. Who wants to take that one?
Ooh, pick me, pick me.
The cute one in the back.
Oh,
That's
thank
me.
you.
All right, so WitcherCon.
That's when the
Go ahead.
announcer says like, no, not you, him.
Who's the guy that looks like he's taking a dump in the back?
WitcherCon happened July 9th. I'm a pretty big Witcher fan, even though I've never actually completed one of the games. But I'm currently reading through the books and obviously watch the show. Just gonna run over WitcherCon real quick. December 17th, we're getting a season 2 of the show on Netflix. Cannot wait. Looks really good. We get to finally see some Ciri Yennefer meeting up and, crossing a few different roads. We get to see Kaer Morhen finally. Looks incredible from the show. They also announced The Nightmare of the Wolf, which is an anime in the Witcher universe focused on Vesemir, which is really, really interesting and something I'm excited to see what they do. Because
Yeah.
with it being an anime, they could make it as fantastical as they want.
Also,
That
resonating with that, Netflix animes have been brutal and amazing. So I've got some pretty high hopes for that one.
What do you mean by brutal? Like brutal good,
Like
brutal bad,
like
like
brutal?
yeah,
gory.
gory,
Oh,
brutal, harsh, like just no holds bar. This is gonna be a bloody show.
hmm.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
I gotta rewatch. Speaking of which, a little off topic. I gotta rewatch Castlevania one. I've only watched the first season, I think,
I haven't watched
and
any of it.
Oh, dude, it's
I've
so good.
heard nothing but good things after the first season.
Oh,
I watched the
interesting.
first season and I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty good." Yeah, and I didn't watch any more of it. And everybody says, "Oh yeah, after the first season, it picks up." So
A few more announcements for our Witcher fans out there. The PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are getting a Witcher 3 update, which is supposed to come out this year. We don't have an exact date for that. And then for our mobile gaming fans, cough, bravo, cough, we are getting a Monster Slayer mobile augmented reality Pokemon Go style game.
Yeah,
Bravo, take this over.
it comes out July 21st, and I will definitely be playing this. I played Pokemon Go quite a bit when it came out, and it just kind of fell off afterwards. Probably like a lot of people. But I actually just picked up another mobile AR Pokemon Go style game called Orna, ORNA. It's this goofy little fantasy based game. But anyways, back to The Witcher. Whenever I heard AR Witcher game, I was like, okay, cool, like Pokemon Go, blah blah blah. But no, this thing is like deep AR. Like you have to like hold your phone up and swing the sword and fight these monsters, and there's like day and night bonuses. So if you're fighting a big bad, perhaps it's better to fight him during the day, or maybe go gather some resources that'll help you kill him. Like it's pretty cool. But we'll have to play it and give it a review.
I wanted to say, along with our, well, a little before the AR stuff, Witcher 3 update. Did this game originally not come out on 360 and PS3?
That sounds right, but I could be wrong. That game's been out forever. It's
Yeah,
Skyrim 2.0.
I know it's crazy. It's doing the Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 5, Skyrim, and now this. It seems like they're doing this pretty regularly. I'm wondering if we're gonna all of a sudden see this trend go forward from now on. Actually, the rumors are also The Last of Us with that remake,
Yeah,
right?
another remake.
Yeah, so there's a chance. I don't
They're
know. It's gonna
just
be kind of funny to see this.
it seems like at this point they're just milking out like the biggest titles that are released over the years, like big name game of the years. So obviously Skyrim, Witcher, Last of
Yeah,
Us.
there
Yeah,
seems to
yeah.
be like a point where the fan base is perfectly fine with it. Like Skyrim, I've purchased Skyrim several times, and the last purchase I made was the VR version of Skyrim, and it was a blast. Like my
Mm.
glutes got a crazy workout because I still tried to squat all the time and get that sneak bonus, but at some point, it just becomes a meme, and you release it on the Alexa, and nobody cares about it anymore.
Yeah. I was wondering when it's gonna stop. It's like, all right, time for the next one.
Yeah.
Let's stop supporting. Which I get it. Like, there's no reason to support it. Like, to stop supporting it if you're gonna keep making money from it. But
I would love to see a deep dive into exactly how expensive it is to remaster a game and put it on the next console, or bring it back to life like Diablo 2. I wonder if it really is just pretty easy to do, or you have to like restart altogether. Like a documentary would be great about that. I'm gonna
yeah,
look that up.
it's probably very dependent on the game that they're doing. So if it's something like, we'll just use Diablo 2, like you said, that's a very, very old game, right? So it's a lot different transitioning from a sprite game
Mm-hmm.
to an actual 3D versus, let's say, The Last of Us that was on PS3. That game looked pretty amazing on PS3, so it's not surprising that on PS4 wouldn't be too hard. PS5, I don't know. All right, so let's move on to the next one, which is the sealed copy of Super Mario 64 that sold for 1.65 million, making it the most valuable gaming collectible of all time. I just want to say I think that this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Super Mario isn't even a rare game. Super Mario 64, it's probably the highest produced 64 game of all time. I mean, it was released with every single console, right?
I don't think so. I
It was-
think
it
most
was the
consoles
pack-in,
came with
right?
like a cruise game.
No, it was a pack-in. I think there was only 2 games that were released with the N64 day one, and it was Mario 64 and something else. I don't even remember. What it
Well,
was.
even without looking up the numbers on that, it's a very popular game.
Yeah,
It's
it's
gotta
definitely
be-
like top
But
3.
I thought that
Yeah.
this game was special because it was like somehow confirmed that it was like an early version or whatnot. I don't know. It's all a money laundering scheme. We all know it, folks. Okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's cool to see it sell for that much, but it's just strange that such a common game. Like, why wouldn't the Nintendo World Championship, the carts, be going for
Or
more?
like a Barbie game.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that Barbie game,
something
right?
rare and useless.
Like Poop Slinger for the PlayStation 4. Poop Slinger for the PlayStation 4. I think there were less than 100 copies of Poop Slinger released.
Brad's just
So-
he's just got poop on the mind today.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should dive deep into that.
We
or
might
not,
have to take
I
a
guess.
timeout.
Oh boy.
Moving on. Piggybacking off of last week's episode, we have gotten a little bit more information of people with some hands-on experience with the Switch OLED. Most reviews that I've read, which given we're only about a handful, say pretty much if you have a Switch already, you're not gonna be blown away enough to go out and buy another one for $350. If you don't have a Switch and you're looking to get one, it's a really good point to start at if you want to have the dockable feature and not go for a Switch Lite. It's easily worth the $50 more from not owning a Switch already. They spoke very highly of the OLED as well. Even with it being 720p, they said it does look pretty good. You're not able to notice the tricolor in each pixel or anything like that off the top of your head. And a few of the reviews I read said they're not even 100% sure that they actually did use that in the models that they were testing. So it'll be something I watch, but I'm not too heavily anticipating.
Well, that pretty much resonates with what we were talking about last week. So
It just feels like that they were possibly going to make a different version of the Switch, and then they decided to do this kind of tamed version and held
Yeah.
back. I don't know why, like we said, all the speculation in the world, but maybe it's the chip shortage or something.
yeah, if you guys want to hear more about that, we dove pretty deep into it in the last episode. So feel free to go back there. I've got it time stamped to when we start talking about that guy. But let's move on. Next subject is Warhammer Battle Sector. This is for all you Warhammer fans out there listening who resonate with me. I am super excited about this game. It looks just like the tabletop game, but without having to get your rulers and laser pointers and everything out to play. Absolutely blown away by this game. I really hope it does well.
We also got Zelda Skyward Sword HD releasing this Friday. For all you Zelda fans out there like me, it looks like the tabletop game without the laser. It's an upgraded port from the Wii game, better motion tracking, and also has the option of using the right stick to control the sword as opposed to using motion controls. And I just want Nintendo to give me the Zelda Joy-Cons because I really would like to have them in my collection. I know you guys care very much about that game, especially
Oh.
Brad with his high quality Switch.
Yeah, my Switch, it's over there next to Biggles.
That's it for our weekly news segment, and we do have a bit of news that's not world related, more specific to the channel. We're super appreciative to everyone for all the support we've gotten over the past few weeks that we've been recording. We were actually just talking before we started up recording here about how we kind of started this idea as a joke, and then we kind of were just like, yeah, sure, let's just do it. And so, as a thank you and to support our Lord and Savior, Mort the Chicken, we want to announce that we are going to be doing a Let's Play of Mort the Chicken on the PS1. Brad will be playing, and then Bravo and I will be sitting in and assisting with commentary. It'll be a fun little thing. We're not exact sure on a release date for it, but we are going to try to get it recorded here pretty soon, and we will keep you guys updated.
And I will flash you every copy of More the Chicken I own on camera.
I'm just gonna cut out right after you say flash you, and it's just gonna be I will flash you.
Yeah, you could. There's so many things you could do with all the words that we've said numerous times.
I have the power.
Oh man,
I will flash you, and then cut to like a poop joke, and it'll be great. We'll get it in editing.
All right. So, moving on to the main topic, Sony PlayStation here. We're gonna have Bravo actually kick it off here, as he loves to do his little bit of numbers, as he did it for both Nintendo and Xbox. Take it away.
The PlayStation profits in 2020 were $3.3 billion, and they had a revenue of $22.74 billion. That is compared to Nintendo, who had a profit of $6 billion and a revenue of $16.6 billion. And previously compared to Xbox, who profited $44 billion and had a revenue of $143 billion. So we have a giant and two very
babies.
Young, small babies just boxing, just out there giving it their all. I will say that PlayStation is another subsidiary or sub company of Sony Corp, which had a $10.7 billion profit and an $82 billion revenue. Just to compare, like, the big giants, Microsoft makes, if I remember the number right, I didn't write it down, $360 million a day, and I can't remember. I don't want to say the number because it's going to be wrong. But
you could have said any number right there.
They make a.
I just want to let you know.
They make a ton every single day.
It actually astounds me that, PlayStation in profits is lower than Nintendo.
Well, that's not reflective of like the quality of the company. That that could be that they are just investing into themselves more, or have more things going on, or whatever. It's just.
I think it could also be Nintendo has a lot of other things that they they just make a lot on the weird, like the NES Classic. Sony's
I would say the
mini
passive
console did
profits.
nothing. Remember?
Yeah, I would say the passive profits from Nintendo IP is just, it's off the charts, and you can see it there without even having to dive deep into the history. Nintendo is just making bank from all kinds of people out there, all kinds of ages, where PlayStation they're a little behind.
Oh yeah, I mean, you take just Animal Crossing alone. That's probably every top PlayStation games what they made in one. I can imagine, at least.
Yeah, let's keep the money rolling, as it were, and jump into the PS Plus with Brad.
All right, yeah. So PlayStation Plus, we got it here. You can get it for $59.99 a year, but they do have some deals. I've seen it once in a while where you can get a Black Friday for like $44.99 or something like that. Perks to it are 3 monthly free games, 4 if you're a PlayStation 5 owner. So they usually have, I would say, a good deal when it comes to these games. They don't just kind of shell out the crap that you don't want. Like Plague Tale Innocence was actually this month's free game, which is the games that Joe and I have been playing. The other things too is kind of neat. This will resonate with Bravo. Rocket League got its game right started from PlayStation Plus. That's like, I feel like how they got their big boost was PlayStation kind of backed them. So they always are kind of backing people, just whoever they believe in.
Yeah, we kind of
There's
talked about it previously, but
yeah,
Psionics put all their eggs into one basket to release this one game, and then PlayStation came to them basically at the last minute as far as planning goes and says, "Hey, you guys should be our free game of the month. How about you?" And they had to make a decision, and they went with it, and it
mhm,
turned out to be the best decision that they could make because who knows if they'd actually would have done so well so quickly if they
yeah.
hadn't.
I feel like they probably would have blown up anyways. It's just a matter of would it have been as fast. That's all. So next, they kind of big no-brainer here that gives you access to your online multiplayer. There's exclusive discounts from the digital store also. So a lot of times you'll see double discounts where they give you, let's say, a 30% off, and then you get an extra 30% off on top of it if you're a PlayStation Plus member. It's a really good way if you want to have that digital collection to build it up for on the cheap. Then you also are getting 100 gigabytes of cloud storage for your save games. That seems crazy high. I don't know if you're going to be using 100 gigs of save data, but I could be completely wrong. But kind of going along with the PlayStation Plus stuff, if you own a PlayStation 5, one of the things that they also give you are 20 free PlayStation Plus collection games. So these are some of the best sellers from the PlayStation 4 generation that they're giving you for free for owning a PlayStation 5 with PlayStation Plus. And I compiled them down, and I also pulled the Metacritic and user scores from Metacritic to kind of give you an idea. So, in order, it's Batman Arkham Knight. We've got a Metacritic score of 87, a user score of 79. Battlefield 1, Metacritic score of 89, user is 79. Bloodborne, which is a 92 for Metacritic and an 88 for the users. Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which the Zombie Chronicles edition, I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but that's got a Metacritic of 78 and a user of 68. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, metas 80, user 84. Days Gone, meta 71, users 83. Detroit Become Human, meta is 78, users 87. Fallout 4, meta is 87, users 7. Final Fantasy 15, meta is 81, user critic is 76. God of War, meta is 94, user is 92. Infamous Second Son. I'm gonna just go through this list, and I'll tell you the average because this is long-winded. God of War, Infamous Second Son, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil 7, The Last Guardian, Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, and Until Dawn. The average Metacritic score of all of these games is an 85, and the average user rating is an 82. There are, I would arguably say, some of the biggest games here that you're getting for free just owning a PlayStation 5 with a PlayStation Plus subscription. Now, obviously, that's personal opinions and stuff like that, but these are some of the best games of all time that you're seeing here.
Bloodborne, God of War. That's enough to sell me.
Literally, Bloodborne, God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted 4. Those right there are, I mean, you probably want the trilogy before 4 if you've never played Uncharted, but you know what I mean.
You could still hop into 4 and have a
Yeah,
good time.
you can hop there if you want. I'm not a big Uncharted fanboy, but you can't deny that it's a good solid game.
Oh, I love them. So we're on the opposite ends there.
Yeah. I love the first 3. I don't know. I like fell off the bandwagon for some reason. I was absolutely in love with them. And once PS4 hit, I was like done. I don't know why.
Fair enough.
Strange. But
You
what
also
do you boys think about that?
You got that itch filled for Uncharted with the Tomb Raider releases, which came out around that time as well, the reboot series.
Yeah, those Tomb Raider games I absolutely loved, and those are my babies. But yeah, I'm just curious what you guys think about these 20 games. So I feel like this is something that, yes, it's a slight bit different, but this I think is the main competition that Xbox and Nintendo may have, because these are the games that people are going to be looking at that they're all getting for free as long as they have PlayStation Plus, and these are the like big hits. They're just handing to you.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Joe.
go ahead, Bravo.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, I'm gonna
never
go.
a standstill.
So, I think that these games here are icing on the cake. They're not bad, But if you're an avid PlayStation fan like I am, now I dipped out of the PlayStation realm with the PS5, but
Mm.
I've played a lot of these games, and I feel like a lot of PlayStation fans are going to be in the same boat. So, these are cool. Like, if I want to go back and play Crash Bandicoot, maybe a little bit of Fallout 4, although I own it on PC, I can. Sometimes you get the need to be Batman. That's great. But what I'm really looking for my like cost benefit analysis is the monthly free games. I'm gonna go back and look and see. Okay, well they had a good game here, and then they had 4 months of garbage, and then they had another good game here. Like I don't know. I think PlayStation does a really good job of giving you some games, and perhaps some games that you would have otherwise not played. But it's pretty good. I will say the one note: the PS5 getting 4 games a month is kind of minimal to me. I don't. It's kind of a weird. I don't know. I guess they just threw it in there to throw it in
I
there,
think
but
I think what it is they didn't want it to seem like if you owned a PS5 that you weren't going to get any PlayStation 5 support, because what they do is they give you 3 PS4 games, and then they'll be like, "Oh, hey, here's this PlayStation 5 like updated game or
hmm.
whatever," right? Because A Plague Tale Innocence is a PS4 game, but they're giving you the PS5 version of it.
I think these 20 free games. So as a PlayStation 4 owner, I got it at release, played some of the early exclusive games, a la Infamous, Second Son, etc. And then I eventually switched over to Xbox because that's what most of my friends had. So I missed out on a lot of these big name games. Obviously, I played Bloodborne as a huge Souls fan. I wasn't missing it no matter what. And then like the cross-platform games like Mortal Kombat, Resident Evil 7 that released multiple times. They do nothing for me here. But if a new person, or say I were to buy my brother or something a PlayStation 5 who hasn't had a PlayStation before, and I just give him a PS5 and like, hey, have at it. And he just grabs it and he's like, yeah, what the supposed to do with this? I don't have any games. And then I'm like, hey, there's 20 free games to download. And then you look at like this list of 20 games, you have a heck of a list to get you up to par on PlayStation as a whole.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I think that's the main draw of it is it's not for the people that are like mainly myself, as I almost exclusively just play PlayStation, because I have owned most of these games and played most of the ones that I wanted to. Like I'm not like it doesn't matter if they gave me Final Fantasy 15 for free, I'm still not gonna play Final Fantasy 15. It's just not me. But the big thing is Fallout 4. I think it's kind of funny that it's Microsoft's game pretty much now, and they have the lowest user review. So that's one of their kind of pack-ins. They also kind of have a wide range too. I mean, they've got your JRPGs, they have the big action games, they've got some shooters, the Soulsborne stuff. Until Dawn is like its own genre, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's horror, but you just pretty much. I like to say it's one of those games you sit down with your significant other, play, have fun, because you
Virtual
don't.
movie.
Yeah, you don't even have to be a gamer to have fun with it. It's just super fun.
Yeah,
So
I think
I like it.
I think Joe really hit it on the head with the incentive to want to pick up the game. So like we kind of covered both sides, where you've got the avid user and the new user. This is a really good incentive. Like, oh, I want to get into the PlayStation game, but I don't want to spend $3,000 playing all the old games or whatever, whatever the price would come out to be. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick this up. I'm gonna get the PS Plus for a couple months, play the heck out of all these games, and maybe drop off, maybe start buying physical copies, whatever. It's a good point.
And we can move unless you guys have anything else to add with PlayStation Plus. But I think it's a good time to talk about PlayStation Now, which is essentially the competitor to the Xbox Game Pass.
Competitor highlighted, underlined, and air quoted.
It's what are you talking about? It's extremely close. It is so close. But PlayStation Now is their online service, very similar to the Xbox Game Pass. It is $59.99 a year. It's subscription based, obviously. Over 700 games. A lot of these are mainly PlayStation 3 and Sony first parties. You've got every single God of War game except for the new one, but like we said, you get that in the PlayStation Plus collection. And they have sometimes thrown in the newest God of War in PlayStation Now. Like every once in a while, they'll slot in one of the newer, I don't know, marquee titles, I would say. We've seen Horizon Zero Dawn in there, the Uncharted games, etc. There are currently 3.2 million subscribers as of May 2021, which I think is pitiful. I don't know. Because of how long it's been around, it's pretty sad. But I don't know if you guys know this. Originally, you signed up for this program and then you had to pay an hourly service to play the games.
I remember that.
Yes.
Remember looking at it, laughed, and never considered it again.
Wow,
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's absurd because it was so bad and like people really were negative about it. They decided to move back and do what they have now, which I think honestly it's not a bad deal. If you're looking to play PS3 games specifically, like on a somewhat modern console because you don't want to haul out your PS3 and hook it up, this is probably the best way to do it.
All right, I'm gonna go off on a little rant here. If you are a company selling consoles and selling an online Game Pass like service that uses streaming, you would assume you would encompass that price into the base price of the service. So you take the average person how much time they're going to spend on the platform and you're like, "Hey, we're going to charge you $100 for PS Now." But that's it. But instead they charge $60 and then they charge you hourly to play the games. It makes no sense, and they literally just threw this bone out there to see if the people would accept it as like a cost to play games, and thankfully it's gone now, right? I heard that
Yeah,
right?
no, they're not doing it anymore.
Wow, it's such a crap.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, I mean maybe it was just a little early because streaming at the time, even now, streaming a game. One of the people of the community actually plays the Google Stadia, and he's got high speed internet, unlimited, whatever. But he can play Cyberpunk for an hour, and it's like 4 or 5 gigs, just constantly downloading information. So I can see the cost of this service being really high on the developer, but maybe it's just a little early. I don't know.
So I have PlayStation Plus. I'm subscribed to it for a year, but I also have PlayStation Now. And I have games on it that I do enjoy the access to, but then there are the games that you stream, and it's significantly less enjoyable of an experience as opposed to the games that you could download, or the fact that Game Pass, every game is downloadable. I understand there's like restrictions with streaming or playing old PlayStation games and porting them onto, a PS5 or whatnot, but it's just inefficient to me and I don't like it. And it's based on internet usage. So if my power's out or I'm at someone else's home who doesn't have as good internet, I just can't access most of the titles on that 700.
Have
Your
you?
power's out. I don't think you're accessing anything.
Yeah, I realized that after, but I do have backups for.
Yeah, he's got a little hamster running in the background, just making sure everything's powered up.
As a user of PS Now, have you noticed any problems with your quality of play?
Yes.
Like streaming the game to your.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a fair bit of people in my house that like to use Netflix and Hulu, Disney Plus, and then my brother's playing games. So there's definitely times where I'm playing these games and like the game just starts lagging in like a single player game, and I'm just like, this isn't how games are supposed to work.
So I also have PlayStation Now, and
You monsters.
I live alone, and I haven't experienced any negative stuff. I haven't even had any hiccups with streaming. I don't know what it is. Do Do you have an Ethernet cable going to your PlayStation
At
there?
I don't currently, but whenever I was primarily
Yeah.
playing the PS Now games, yes.
There's so many
Yeah, because
factors to that. Just
Yeah.
the quality of the ISP, of how many people you're on.
Comcast.
Yeah.
I've just noticed myself before I hardwired my PlayStation, I would have issues just in general. Like even just streaming Netflix, like it would just crap out completely, right? I think it's totally up in the air in how it is. I know that it's not going to be as well. I also know I don't have the eye that most people do. Like if something is a tad off, like some people could see if it's like, oh, it went from 60 to 59 frames right there. Like it skipped one frame. I'm like, couldn't even tell, right? Unless you're actually showing me, I can't tell you what something's running at a frame rate and whatnot. But
Yeah.
to me, overall, it looks like it runs somewhat like relatively smooth. Unless you're gonna show me on like a base, let's say if we compare like a PS3 game, right? Unless you're gonna show me on the base PS3 and show me the PS Now version, and you could see that, oh look, it's a little bit worse. That's the only way I'm gonna know.
Yeah, it's
Fair.
just it's Joe said it that it's just inefficient, and it relies on another entity and your ISP to have a good quality connection. And if the state of the internet out there is anything, it's not good for the user. So it's a poor move.
I just wish that they made it so you could download any game. Simple as
Mhm.
that.
It also, yeah, I agree to that, but it also affects people like some people that we know who play in areas that don't have the best internet connection. And then it just makes them unable to access a good portion of this service because they can't just like download the game overnight and then come play it the next day or something like that. It's constantly relying on that connection.
Mhm.
For sure. Also, I guess I'll add one more small thing at PlayStation Now. Why don't you add PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games? Well, they have a few PlayStation 2 games. PlayStation 1 games, you have PlayStation 1 classics on PlayStation 3. Clearly can do it. It's just more free money.
Don't
on
go
with the
the road of
time.
Nintendo.
Yes. I'll send Papa Bravo over there and slap you.
But Brad, I do have a question for you. That bounce between the two of us. We do have PlayStation 5s.
Yep.
We're some of the lucky few at this point. But how has your experience as a whole been with your PlayStation 5?
Honestly, it's been, I would say overall, very solid. I've heard a lot of people having issues with a bunch of random things with people who can't run certain games. It just completely crashes. Like I've heard on the Sacred Symbols podcast, one of the guys on there, I guess, can't even run Returnal. Like there's some bug that's only specific with his console, and he can't get past some certain spot in it. Just had to send it to Sony. They try to fix it. They can't figure it out. It's weird.
I actually listened to his review of that, and
Mhm.
he's pretty lucky guy. He has contacts to like higher ups in the company, and they just give him the runaround. It's the strangest thing.
Yeah, it was because it was like a friend of a friend kind of thing that who's having the issue. But
Mm-hmm.
my favorite was they asked him, well, you should bring it back to the person you bought it from and get a new one. And then he's like, I bought it directly from Sony. That's website. Like I bought it from you, and they go, oh, okay, and they disconnected the chat. But no, realistically, I mean, I think the controller is amazing. I think the console itself is pretty awesome. I honestly haven't played a ton on it because I feel like PlayStation 5 exclusives, there haven't really been anything that's come out that's like, oh, I could experience all of it so far on PS4. And honestly, I don't think there's a game that couldn't have been created for PS4 yet. Like I don't think Ratchet and Clank would have had a problem being PS4. I just feel like it could have been on there.
Ratchet
It
and
didn't blow me away.
Clank. It didn't blow me away to a point either. There were like some cool things in like the rifts and how it loaded it. But the game that like really struck me as being next gen was without a doubt Demon Souls.
That's just graphically though, right? So
Yeah.
if they reduced the like what I'm saying is it's not so much that the PlayStation 4 obviously it couldn't handle the graphics, right? But it could run that game if they just down-resed it. So they can make a PS4 port of it. And there's a
Sure.
chance maybe they do.
On
I
a
doubt
note
they
on
would.
the hardware side, processors really haven't changed all that much in the last 5 years, maybe even 7 years. So you're really looking at the graphical updates on these next gen consoles, and I would be really interested to see if the Ratchet and Clank game could be handled by the PS4. But I'm gonna lean more towards a yes, because it's got that Legend of Zelda type graphics where it's like really good, but it's not trying to pull off like realistic graphics. It definitely has its moments, like you said,
I
the
would
Rift.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, I would just say though, it's like like it's no one's taken away that these Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank, even Returnal and stuff. These are absolutely gorgeous games,
yes,
graphically,
100%.
right? Like I think everybody is going to agree with that. It's just Ratchet and Clank, the original one on PlayStation 4, was freaking gorgeous too. Like it's an absolutely gorgeous game. It looks just like a Pixar movie, and I feel like that's what everybody said about Ratchet and Clank 2. But the new one, is it as good looking? No, but they're still gorgeous games. I think it's one of those things that it's weird for me because I feel like we could have still kept with the PlayStation 4. Honestly, like there hasn't been something to me where I'm like, oh, we needed a new console. Like I was content with the PS4's myself. I feel like they
No.
just felt like they had to put out a PS5 because it's been so long.
So my experience with the PS5, whenever I first got it, I actually did run into a bug where I couldn't run Demon Souls right away, and it would just get stuck at like the splash screen. It was
Mhm.
weird. Don't remember how I fixed it, but I fixed it, and I haven't had an issue since. Uh, I think the console as a whole is very aesthetically pleasing. Uh, it does run a little hot, which I learned today, but nothing that's like major of a concern. I've played through a few games on it. Admittedly, I play it significantly less than you'd expect somebody who went and got a PlayStation 5 nice and early. The Basically the only games I've played through on it are Demon Souls, Call of Duty Cold War, and then Ratchet and Clank, and then I've started like a half dozen games. But graphically, it's insane the quality you get for the price.
Yeah.
And I assume it's probably similar for the Xbox Series X, but like I have a few $1,000 gaming computer, and there's certain situations where, even I question like, can my computer even pull that off? But I know like Resident Evil Village, obviously Capcom is not known to be the best at optimizing for PC, but there were some issues with like optimization and how you just get like random frame drops for no reason, specifically with the sisters. And I know Brad, you said you had like no issue.
Yeah, the game played absolutely flawless for me. I mean, that was a game I was like blown away by when I was looking at it. But I think the biggest thing that the PS5 I've noticed is just the loading.
It's insane.
It is, yeah, that's by far the biggest improvement. And that is something that I will say that is not possible in PS4.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Demon Souls is the game I noticed it the most in. Like, normally in some of the other Dark Souls, Bloodborne, you'd get like the fog loading time when you fast travel, and it would be, 30 seconds. You'd have enough time to grab yourself a quick drink or something like that. This game, like, literally, it goes fog, gone, like, as
Yeah.
fast as that. And it was incredible.
Oh, it's if you played the PS3 Demon Souls, oh my gosh. I literally went back to it for just fun. I don't even know why. I was like, I'll pop it in and see. I'll be honest, I can't believe that anybody would even buy that version of the game now. Like, unless obviously you don't have a PS5. But once everybody's capable of getting a PS5, you might as well take that game, just throw it in a dumpster. I don't know why you'd even want to have the PS3 one.
Bluepoint did an incredible job. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're an amazing studio. So I think we can move on to now, after going with our rundowns of the PS5, the state of play, which was a lot larger than I actually anticipated. I was thinking it was going to be one of those, oh, hey, we're just going to show you this one game, like a 15 minutes of gameplay of Deathloop specifically.
Even
But
though
then
you told me in Bravo not to watch it because it's just going to be Deathloop.
yeah, I literally told him, I was like, it's just gonna be Deathloop. There's, it's up to you guys. You want to watch it, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a bunch more games there. So yeah, we can go over it. I think one game at a time. I'll actually take a start first because I think I'm the only one that knows much of Moss. And Moss Book 2, it's a PSVR game. Really, there's not much to really say other than it's just a continuation of the first game, which is a game where you kind of look down and you almost are in a god mode style like viewpoint where you're above everybody and you can kind of look around and see, and it's a 3D platformer from that viewpoint. It's really cool. I liked it a lot, and obviously it's pretty cute with the little mouse. He gets all of his weapons and equipment and stuff. I will say from the first game, I probably had the largest jump scare of my life. Playing a game where I'm a little mouse, and it's because I didn't realize that I was running across a river, and I had to jump onto these rocks. And after jumping onto it, a deer pops out from the background, and it is absolutely massive, and it like jumps across the river and scares the crap out of me. So it was kind of funny, but visually appealing, and I'm kind of excited to see how it is. It made me want to actually go back and play Moss.
Yeah, I had some friends that tried to just twist my arm to get me to play this game, but I never did. It does seem cool. I've played another top-down VR game. I can't remember the name. It's a commander game. Like you command your robotic troops. I'll have to look it up, but it's a pretty cool concept. I like the isometric gaming, and you can't get much more isometric than physically being there, looking down on little creatures. I'm waiting for the near future, perhaps, where tabletop games can be played in this kind of camera angle where you control your 40K troops. Like you pick them up by the little jetpack and their little legs are twitching, and you move them whatever length that they can go or whatever, as a commander of your army. It'd be so cool.
I was gonna say, I can't imagine that's very far away. I mean, Tabletop Simulator, I'm guessing there's probably a VR version of it on Steam. If not, they're probably working on it right now.
Yeah, and who knows what the Games Workshop Warhammer subscription model, maybe they're saving up their pennies to do just that. Games Workshop, are you listening to me?
Yeah.
Please.
But one other game that kind of goes with that is the Astrobot Rescue Mission. It was very similar to that whole, you look down, same kind of viewpoint. Really cool. Works great. So
okay, this next game, I'm going to attempt to not butcher it. It is Arcade-ageddon. Arcade-ageddon. It looks cool, honestly. It's, if you can track with me here, very arcadey, and it looks like you just kind of run around in this Ready Player One Tron kind of world, and you can do a bunch of different mini games. You can do shoot 'em up type games. You can play Tron type games. It just looks really cool. The trailer is all over the place with all kinds of stuff that you can do. I'm probably gonna give it a go.
I will say, visually, it does look cool. I was very pleased aesthetically from it, but to me, it does not scratch any itch at all. It looks kind of like it wants to be Fortnite. That's kind of some vibe I got. It was giving me a little bit of Fortnite vibes, along with maybe, God, I can't even think of what else. Just it was giving me just different, like, similar games that we already have vibes, and they're just trying to they're just trying to like grab that market that's already out there and jumping on the bandwagon. That's just how I felt. Like, you already know from me, I'm not a big multiplayer guy anyways. Like, it takes very particular games for me to get into it. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could twist my arm. I did play League of Legends with you guys, so
love to have you come back.
I honestly, I probably will. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll see. But I do want to take the next one because it is a Diablo clone. This is Tribes of Midgard. So pretty neat. I really liked it aesthetically and the fact that it's like kind of giving you the Viking vibes, right? So you got 10-player co-op. I don't know if it's co-op or just in general, like online gameplay.
Would you really call that a Diablo clone? Because it's like an open world survival type game, isn't it?
It looks like it has that Path of Exile Diablo thing. They just added survival elements to it.
Yeah, I guess you would.
Because it's isometric, it's loot.
Mhm.
The clicking. It's got the skills.
The game that recently came out, Valheim. This is like, I don't know if they're gonna like sue them for copyright or whatever, but it's very similar. And if
Valheim was a third-person action game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy, if they can have better combat, more involvement through their combat, and we'll see how the boss battles go. But it could be pretty cool. I am definitely gonna play it. I played a ton of Valheim, mostly for the lore, and then the building was pretty good. And if this one has similar or better features to it, it'll be a really good game. Hopefully the community that likes these kind of games isn't burnt out with Valheim.
I don't think that this is hitting even close to the same archetype as Valheim.
Well,
I think Valheim,
same, like, lore is,
yeah, I think it's just it's that Viking kind of lore and stuff. But you're looking at, it's got, I mean, that rune system that they showed off, it's literally pulling off the same thing from Path of Exile, where, oh hey, you can manipulate your different skills, right? So if you wanted to add an electric strike to one of your skills, then you put in this gem and then you do that, or the rune, excuse me, that was the wording that they used. So that's almost exactly the same as what Path of Exile was doing.
I have to go back and correct myself. I feel like I was seeing through like Valheim goggles, but the more I think about it, the more I think you're right. It really is a Diablo style game.
Yeah. Like it's definitely, like, if I were to compare the two, I would say that Valheim is probably more, and this is somebody who hasn't played Valheim at all, just from watching.
Monster.
Yeah, I know. It looked like it was more maybe along the lines of World of Warcraft, where well, I mean, that viewpoint, right? Like, you're behind the shoulder, you can move the camera around and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is isometric; it's above.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to compare, I guess, viewpoints with Blizzard IP, and 8 different classes. Also, we didn't really get to see much. We just know that there's a ranger class. If they said another one, I missed that. So yeah, I think that us 3 could definitely get together and play that together.
Awesome.
And also July 27th is the release date. So
yeah,
what is that? 2 weeks from now? July 27th? Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow. So
sure is. We could
definitely.
I can fit you guys around my battle sector playtime, but I think it'll work out really good.
yeah, definitely. Probably not. Probably won't see you for a week.
It won't be that bad.
All right, so moving on, we got FIST, Forged in Shadow Torch. It's a side-scroller 2D arcade platformer that's like graphically 3D, but it's on a 2D playing field.
2.5D.
Looks really good, but I'm not much of a 2D platformer fan or 2.5D platformer fan. I feel like new modern games should not be 2D platformers, but like the old school games are just fine.
Yeah. I like the inflection of your voice where you're like, it looks great, almost like you didn't write that down. It was almost like somebody else wrote that one in the notes.
Almost like Bravo wrote that, and I can't give any more squinty eyes to something Joe said. You don't like modern games being 2.5D? Should we go look at the most current Metroid game coming out? and perhaps talk about the similarities between Fist and Metroid?
We can go look at it all you want, and you could ask me how interested I am, and it's going to be the exact same.
You're not
So
interested in
here's
Metroid?
Not the new one. I like the Prime games.
Hey, he's consistent, fam. He's consistent. We're good to go.
I think here's the thing. When it comes to side-scrolling platformers, there's just something weird, in my opinion, that comes about when you get these like super realistic graphics in this style of gameplay. It loses a touch of the I, I don't know. It like loses its charm. I think part of the charm was the pixelated graphics and I don't know. Maybe it's just nostalgia and the rose tinted glasses coming out
Mhm.
where it's like, oh well, Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Those are the times when platformers were obviously hot stuff. But to me, yeah, it looks fine. Will I play this? No, I don't think you could pay me to play it. But that's just me. I'm not gonna play. If I'm gonna play a platformer, I'm playing more the chicken. All right,
Well,
no doubt.
if I can get a hold of a PS5, I would play this game because I like the cartoony graphics. Like all the humanoids are animals. Like the main character is a rabbit in a mech suit. Come on, folks.
This is releasing on. It says Windows. So
Oh
will it be
yeah,
on
you're right.
Steam? I don't know.
You're right. I
Yeah,
will be playing this and I will review the crap out of it.
and it'll also be on PS4. I'll be very. I mean, I'm interested to see any game. Like, no doubt to me is it does look good, but
I
like
mean,
kind of we said,
I'm not trying to change the hearts and minds of folks. If you don't like it now, you're probably not going to like it after I give some kind of review. But maybe the story will be fun. I don't know.
I'm definitely over exaggerating a bit in the fact that I'm saying that I don't like 2D platformers because there are a few out there that are more modern that I enjoy, like Soul and Sanctuary. And I mean, obviously, that's more of a Souls like in a 2D world, but I don't know. I just don't get the same gist of them I do as like playing the old school Mario Brothers or something like that.
yeah. I have to contradict myself too because I don't usually like these games, but there is one game that I really loved that came out on the 360, and it was Shadow Complex. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or seen it, but it was a super fun game, basically just Metroidvania, and I enjoyed it a lot. I played it a ton. So there are very minimal times where I end up liking it, but
I
when
feel
I
like
do,
you guys. I feel like you guys soften the blow on how much you hate this game just for my feelings, and I want you to know that I noticed and I appreciate it.
it's because I
You're
love you.
welcome.
Just know that I love you more.
Moving on, Hunter's Arena Legends. Now, I could not for the life of me remember this game, but wasn't this game showcased at E3 as like the open world melee combat game? I thought it had a different name to it though.
It. I don't think this is the same one because that one you showed me, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you talked about was more like Asian inspired. This one didn't give me that gist like that one we talked about did. So I'm pretty sure this is a new or separate new game because the other one we talked about, I'm pretty sure was already like available to be played on Steam and some other places at the time of E3.
I don't remember seeing this at all. If so, I might have been doing
It is
something
different.
else.
I remember Nakara. N A
That's it.
K
Kara.
R A. Yeah,
All
this is
right.
a completely different game. Wow. Okay. So
Well, it looked okay. It's definitely not my thing. So this is all between you guys. You already know this is not my category.
it's not mine. I mean, the other one looks
All right,
fun.
I'll sign up for it to be
I,
my category.
I,
It's a
I'm interested in Nakara, but like, I don't know. We'll see which one does better, and I'll just play that one.
this one is very similar to Nakara. It's a PvPvE battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
It has world bosses. It seems like it's just taking from mythologies all over the world. It seems like there's a little bit of like Asian influence and Indian influence, a little bit of like Norse, Roman. I'm not sure. The characters looked a bit funky in a good way. It'll be interesting to see how a melee battle royale turns out.
Yeah.
Some of the animations looked a little stiff. There was a particular one in the trailer that they were like jumping off and swinging and like to slam a spear, and like there was the jump animation, like they held their spear back and like they just fell to the ground in like the same animation without like any difference, and then it just hit the ground like in one fell swoop. It was a little awkward. It
One
looked
fell
stiff.
swoop. I'm
It
sorry.
looked stiff.
Moving on, I'll talk a little bit about Sifu. So this is kind of a beat 'em up game. Reminds me of the 3D style beat 'em games we saw a lot in the PlayStation 2 console generation. Saw a few PlayStation 1 ones though. And it just has such a cool physics like engine to it. Like the combat looks so fluid, and how you can knock people down and do a whole bunch of neat moves. It seems like it's gonna be one of those games where you're like, I'm gonna be John Wick. What could I do here? Right? Just without the guns. Maybe there's guns. I haven't seen any guns. I'm super interested into it. It didn't seem like we got a ton from the gameplay, other than it's going to be releasing early 2022. I know that it was initially their thoughts of trying to hit 2021 towards the end of the year, but it looks like they had to push it back. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, this one really reminds me of a game that came out in mid 2017 called Absolver.
Absolver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked Absolver. It quickly got hard. I don't know if I was just playing against other master martial arts experts, but you could like quote unquote develop your own martial arts as you played when you picked up other skills is pretty cool. I will probably watch this one from a short distance, and if it seems like it's improved on the thought of Absolver, I will probably pick it up and play it.
This is made by the same people that made Absolver.
There you go.
That would make sense as to why it seems so similar. I never played Absolver. I did think it looked really cool, but
Good catch, Brad.
I feel like this is going to be the one that I end up giving a shot.
I can finally legally beat up Brad.
No.
Moving on, the next game we have is Jet the Far Shore. I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of games for their art style. It's just a weird selection. Like the character faces look strange to me, but it's mainly focused on the overworld exploration through aircraft. One unique thing about this game is you actually are encouraged to avoid combat, and the only kind of combat you seem to get into is the kind where you're fighting to run away. You never get into some kind of like big battle with the creatures. They play it off in the trailer like you're respecting the local creatures of this planet, and you don't want to inhibit their movements or their life, I guess. So yeah, not the biggest fan of the close up artwork, but the overworld looks just fine. It's kind of like a mix between pixelated and or polygon and like high quality Zelda type graphics. I just didn't like it. Didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, so
Not me. Not my game. That's all I gotta say.
the little bit I seen of it, the art style in and of itself pushed me away. I did not like it at all.
They're not all winners, boys. I'm gonna jump on to the next one. I don't know if either one of you are Demon Slayer fans. Can we get some?
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
I haven't
is this
finished
an
it.
anime?
It
Mhm.
is.
I don't think I've watched an anime before.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't gotten crazy deep into the show, but the bit of it I did watch, I liked.
Okay, so
Wait, does the Castlevania thing count as an anime?
that is a whole podcast we could talk about. But short answer, probably no. Yeah, so this Demon Slayer game, I absolutely love the anime and the movie that just released. I'm pretty timid when it comes to TV show slash movie adaptations to video games. I'm gonna watch this one from afar, but I don't have too high hopes. If they can get the animation style of the abilities down, oh man, I will probably play that then.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I don't know. I haven't ever been too big of a fan of like anime video games, but
Mm.
I feel like this is one that could potentially make me change my mind.
I'd say combat looked good. That was something I pulled from it. I know absolutely nothing from the source material, but it looked. I thought graphically it looked beautiful, and the combat seems decent.
We could open
So
up a whole can of worms here, but I really feel like Demon Slayer is an anime worth watching, even if you're not an anime avid viewer. It is like the fight scenes, without revealing anything, are like live paintings. I don't know how to describe it. It's so good.
Moving on, we got Lost Judgment, which looks like basically a Yakuza spinoff.
it is.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I've not personally played this series, but it seems to be quite interesting. I also haven't played Yakuza, so I don't have much of a baseline if I would like it or not. But it looks cool. It looks interesting. Something I'd keep an eye on from a distance.
Yeah, they so the Yakuza games are absolutely massive. It's essentially kind of the Grand Theft Auto style of game, I would say, for the Japanese mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they have you do almost anything. You could do dancing, you can go and tons of little side quests and it's just Grand Theft Auto,
So
realistically.
way back when we did the E3 episode,
Mm.
I basically was first introduced to Yakuza, and I'm like, why have I not played this game? And the answer is one, exposure, and two, Lost Judgment will be the first Yakuza game that is English dub. So I probably, even if I saw it in the store, I probably would not have picked it up. So this being the English dub, I would like to give it a shot because the gameplay, it's like so ultra serious, it's funny with the crazy stuff that they have you do and the commentary and whatnot. Like I really think this is a pretty cool series, and I'm sad that I missed out on it.
Yeah, I actually owned the first game, the remake of it on PS4, but played very, very little of it and just decided to stop at some point because I just wasn't in that open world mode. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes also down to the fact that the combat is like the hand-to-hand combat is what this game I think is more known for when it comes to the action. Like Grand Theft Auto, it's not like their hand-to-hand combat. It's like super in depth, I don't believe. But this I think is a little more polished in that category. That's all. But finally, I guess we could talk about Deathloop, which was our main, the main showing from the PlayStation. What is this even? State of Play. I couldn't remember. I had a complete stroke right there. Just nothing. So Deathloop, very, very similar graphically to Dishonored, which is no surprise because it's made by Arcane Studio. So I absolutely love games, and they pulled a lot from those games in their gameplay categories. There's another one of those time loop games. There's something in the water, it seems, because we have a lot of them coming out all at the same time. Whether that's coincidence or not, we, who knows? Or people are sharing notes because it's like, hey, let me copy your homework over there because I didn't do my homework.
Yeah, somebody went to the same like conference and they were like, "Oh, nobody really has any of these time loop games," and they just started pumping them out.
Yeah.
4D chess was first.
For
The grandfather of the genre.
hmm.
It's
So
it's 4D chess like. That's a crap joke.
we're gonna end the podcast.
We have a third grade sense of humor, and I'm here for every second of it.
All right, seriously though, about this game, it's got some pretty comical voice line by the main guy. He kind of talks to himself, and your whole goal is to take out the 8 targets known as the Visionaries on this island, and you, as you can probably tell, you die and repeat the day over again like some kind of Groundhog Day of heck. So.
So
Pregnant
what?
pause, boys.
That's it. So,
So-
one of you guys say moving on. We move on.
Joseph.
Why don't you just say so? Moving on.
All right, moving on. Do one of you guys want to take the last one because you're a little bit more passionate about it than me?
I do. I'm very angry. So we got to see Death Stranding director's cut again. We saw it a little bit at E3, but it was more of a meme video. Uh, so dir- I haven't personally played Death Stranding. It's a game that intrigues me to no end just based on what the concept of the game is. And it looks like you work for the post office, is pretty much what the game is. Obviously, I know there's a lot more to it than just that, but moving.
No, that's it. That's literally it. You just work for the USPS, and you're like, here you go, Frank.
No
I
package
got
left
your
undelivered.
yep.
But
Here's your bill that you've been laid on for 3 months.
the director's cut thing is what really stands out to us and what, really gets our tempers flaring. So essentially, I'm not sure that this is something that's already happening or if we're opening Pandora's box here, but essentially it's an expansion, but it's also the upgrade to the PS5 system all in one that they're charging us separate for. This also applies to the Ghost of Tsushima, which I have played and love the game, and I'm a little bit more passionate about because it's a game that means more to me than Death Stranding. But essentially, what they're doing, they're saying, okay, the PS4 game came out, we gave our baby version of PS5 upgrades, so upgrade the frame rate and load times, whatever. Now they're saying for Ghost of Tsushima, I'm going to reference because I actually have the numbers. For $30 more on top of your PlayStation 4 game that works for PS5, we'll give you the Icky Island expansion, which awesome expansion, more content. Who doesn't want it? Ghost of Tsushima was great. I'd love to play more of it. But behind that paywall, we're also locking cinematic lip sync animations for the Japanese voiceover settings, which are the settings the game tries to push you towards, as it's like the natural for, Tsushima being a part of Japan. Obviously, the haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, faster load times, dynamic 4K resolution that's supposed to be 60 frames per second are also PS5 only, which are locked behind this paywall that we were told we were getting an update for, which was free for the PS5. And we never got any of these. We're getting 3D audio support, a different controller layout option. Oh, how am I ever going to function without that? An optional lock-on feature.
Oh, whoa.
Why we're getting a lock-on feature this late into a game's life in a separate edition of the game just doesn't make sense to me. Like, let's go look at Dark Souls and let's just remove the lock-on feature for the Dark Souls remaster and see what happens. It doesn't make sense. A new Legends mode, cool. Multiplayer, more content, and the last one that I will not understand why it's being listed on these sites as a PS5 only edition, the ability to hide your arrow quiver during gameplay. Only for PS5, folks. If you play PS4, screw you. You keep your quiver.
You got to keep that quiver.
Yeah. It just seems absurd that if you have the PS4 version, you essentially just get an island expansion, and they act like you couldn't do some of this on the PS4. Like, I get it, obviously haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, 3D audio, faster load times. Makes sense, but you couldn't do lip sync animations to the
For the
Japanese?
natural language of the area that the game
Yeah,
focused on.
I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I know anything about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a lot more difficult than we think. It's clearly not, but If they're able to sync it to the English voice acting, they should be able to do it to the Japanese one.
There is like the historical look at these director's cuts. Brad, you mentioned the Fatal Frame 1 and 2 before the podcast, and I want to make it clear that like the first generations of these games were only on PlayStation 2. When the director's cuts came out, it was a year later and they were only on the original Xbox. So essentially it was more of a port than anything, just with whatever additional content.
Yeah.
And same with Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. We're talking 5 years for the original Game Boy version to the Game Boy Color being Link's Awakening DX. It made the game in color and gave a single new dungeon over 5 years. Ghost of Tsushima came out July 17th, 2020. We're recording this on the 12th. It has not been a year, and we're already doing this with a game.
Yeah, so these older games, they just seem like if I can say, strange title choice for just a bit of a remaster, a bit of a re-release, you know, which is fine because there's some time between it. Maybe you want some people to play on the next console, the next gen, whatever. But the Ghost of Tsushima, the Death Stranded, like it's a weird time, and I know it's like the between time between consoles where you're like, oh, we're gonna offer it on both because of the time and limitations of the old means you might not get all the features, but that is not the case here. It is legitimately, hey, we're putting things behind a paywall, and you have to have so like collectors are in a weird spot because they're people passionate about these games are obviously going to want the next one, but people who just want to play the game, I guess with Ghost of Tsushima, since you get the expansion, it's okay, and they're not charging you full price. So, all right, I'll give it to you a little bit. It kind of hurts my feels as a gamer, but I guess I understand you need to make your money. But then Death Stranded is charging you the monies, not as much money. It's just the $10 to upgrade for the PS4, but it's just a strange. If they would have just not named them director's cuts, I think there'd be a lot less anger.
I think
To a point, sure.
I think it's just weird because while they're calling it director's cut, and realistically, I feel like it's kind of in a way similar to the Game of the Year stuff. It's just a very weird thing that they decided to like block some stuff out. Like, why
Legitimate,
not just be like, yeah, like why not just be like, hey, here's the Game of the Year, or if you want to call it director's cut, call it director's cut,
yeah,
and just be like, hey, listen, if you got the PS4 version, you pay $10 more, and your PS4 version turns into the PS5 version, which has all the features. And
yeah.
if you just tell them flat out, like, hey, if you're playing on PS4, you can't get like a lot of this stuff, but you'll get the extra content, because it makes sense why you can't have adaptive triggers on PS4 because controller doesn't have adaptive triggers.
Yeah.
But like I get it, but it's just a weird. I don't know. You should be able to do as much as you possibly can on the PS4 version if you're going to push it that way.
I'm gonna approach this at a different angle. I think it could be just a marketing error. If you release Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 and just call it the regular game and notify the player base like, hey, since we've had time, we've actually upgraded some things, we've added some things that we've heard feedback from. It doesn't even have to be true. Maybe they didn't even get any feedback about the quiver thing, but they're like, hey, we heard some feedback. You guys don't like the quiver, whatever. You want some optional lock on features, whatever. We've added that in the PS5 because we've just been sitting around trying to make the game better. Here you go. Instead, they call it director's cut and say, here you go, squad. Have some fun. By the way, we want more money.
Director's cut to me is like they had this in the game and then they took it out before release. Just like how I'd imagine a movie to be. Like they have to trim it down to fit in time crunch or
Yeah.
how long a standard movie is. It's a trying to keep my language PG-13 here. It is a video game. The game's already 30 some hours long. Make it 32 hours. Just like, why are we gonna lock this content? PS5 upgrades, awesome. The haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, awesome. I absolutely love the PlayStation 5 controller. Why wasn't this just included in like the normal PS5 upgrade that you told us we were getting?
The one thing I just don't get is the game did get the PS5 very like that little upgrade that some
Yeah,
of these games have. Like so what I don't understand is how drastically different is it going to be from the like okay, it doesn't have the adaptive triggers, right? And but it probably already has the faster load time. Like I can't imagine that they didn't, if they
yeah.
optimized it, it probably loads faster.
Or
It's probably already has the 4K.
counterpoint, PS5 loads faster by default, so they just put it in as a bullet because they needed another bullet.
It could be. It really
The
could be.
the last thing that makes no sense to me, only the PS5 version is getting the lip sync for the Japanese voiceover.
What?
Tell
Yeah,
me
Yeah, what
why.
hardware or software limitation on the PS4 is preventing you from giving that to the community?
It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. It's not something I'll buy. I would love to play the Icky Island expansion. I'm not paying $30 for it.
How much? So one more time, I know that Joe, you probably have it up in front of you as you're reading off. What does it cost just to buy on the PS? Like, so you have the PS4 version currently.
Mhm.
If you wanted to buy the Island expansion, you don't care about the PS5 stuff. You don't care like the minimum price to obtain this. What is it?
$20.
$20. Like, do you think that Island expansion is probably worth $20?
Unless it's okay. So we're gonna base this off the game. The game will say is 30 hours, $60 game. I got it on sale, so I'll even give it roughly, $15 an hour or per 10 hours. That's how we'll value it. So if it's not a 15-hour expansion, it's not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it more so of if it's a game that you enjoyed and you really like it, expansions, they like a lot of people put out expansions. There's been Resident Evil 7 expansions, and obviously now all the fan feedback, they're going to do the Resident Evil 8 one when they originally weren't planning to, so they say. Um, it's I feel like it's almost rare when a game doesn't get an expansion. Like God of War didn't get anything added to it
Yep.
other than just like, hey, here's a better, more optimized mode for the PS5. But I mean, I would say a fair price probably would be more like $10 than 20 for if you're gonna add like just that's without us knowing how long this is gonna be.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, PS4, you're only getting this island. Here you go, $10. That kind of sounds more fair to me than $20 versus what, $30 and you get everything on PS5.
Yeah. It I loved this game. I thought it should have won Game of the Year. This whole director's cut thing just like puts a stain on it in memory, like already, and I haven't seen any of this. Yeah, the game was incredible. This just makes me not want to support it to the point that I would have went out of my way before. They would have made a second game on this Icky Island. I'm not familiar with the whole history, like actual history of the invasion of Tsushima and Icky Island, but either make it another game, make it a standalone expansion, like a Far Cry Blood Dragon or something along those lines. It just doesn't make sense to me to do this director's cut and lock it behind a separate paywall like this with other content that just should be in the game already.
Probably like anything else where they're just, as usual, trying to milk the cow as much as they possibly can. And in reality, they probably should have just put this like, listen, they put out that multiplayer expansion for free, and they really won over a lot of fans by doing that. And I've heard the multiplayer was phenomenal for this game. But man, maybe you should have just laid it to rest and just take the win and just moved on to the next, sequel or whatever, rather than doing something like this and tainting some people's minds, where it's like, oh, I was super positive. Now you're trying to get $70 from me if I want this game physical, because I don't know about you guys, but when as a collector, if it's something that I actually love and I enjoy, so like if I was in Joe's shoes, this is like one of my favorite games. I want to have the best, most definitive version of the game. And now it went from, oh hey, I've got Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I just need like a DLC too. Now I've got to go out and buy the $70 PS5 version just to get cinematic lip syncs for the Japanese
Yeah,
voiceover.
it's literally just taking advantage of like people like me and yourself who collect these games.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, it kind of comes down to the same point of, hey, if you want to have all the DLC on your disc, you almost have to be that person that's like, I'm waiting for the Game of Year edition. I'm waiting for that gold edition. I'm waiting for something that has it all right on the disc for me. That so I'm not downloading it, because I think it's a scary future where everything's kind of online, and if things get shut down, you're not able to download that stuff again. So you want to have that DLC on your disc to play it in the future.
And then the last point I have here for these director's cuts, Kojima himself, the lead designer for Death Stranding, has said that he's not a complete fan of the director's cut in video games. He tweeted out here earlier today, a director's cut in a movie is an additional edit to a shortened version that was either released reluctantly because the director did not have the right to edit it or because the running time had to be shortened, which we mentioned. And he also said in the game, it's not what was cut, but what was additionally produced that was included. Director's plus. So, in my opinion, I don't like to call it director's cut. Essentially, what he's saying is like we said, it's not that they cut things out. It's literally just additional content. So, why are they calling it this and trying to market it like it's something that should have been there, but it wasn't? And now we could finally touch it.
Moving on, now that you've heard what we have to say and what Kojima has to say, we'd like to hear what you guys think of this whole director's cut debacle Sony is attempting to push. Do you think that it has any real benefit to us as consumers, or is it just a cash grab? Let us know on Twitter at envision_org. Email us at envisiongamingpodcast@gmail.com. Or just drop a comment under the YouTube. Appreciate you guys watching and catch you later.
Have a good one.
See you, everyone.